I look, when I see this, what you've got to understand, like, it's okay for Deborah to have left her comment, but for all this from Eddy, that, like, I am never, if you left that comment on my video, if you left a reply to me like this, I'm not going to read it. In fact, if you send me an email like this, I'm not likely to read it. Like, look how long it is. I'm going to read it now because it's been requested on the show, but look how long it is. Now imagine I've got 10 comments like that, 20. Imagine I start replying and reading to them all. Imagine how much of my working day is devoted to replying to long comments in long, and then imagine how many times I have to repeat myself. You're better off just making videos. And the irony is, Eddy does. Eddy does make videos. So if you can't say it in a video, or you didn't, or you did, it doesn't, like, you don't need this. This is like a blog. A blog. And no one cares. So there's a top tip for everyone who gets angry about comments anyway. Like Lucy Lastic here, who's replied, Deborah, who made you foreman? Like, is that a real person, Lucy Lastic? They started their channel September 2021, so they're old enough to have been on YouTube for a while. They weren't just created for the Nicola Bully thing, but they don't have a picture. They've never uploaded a video. They've never done a community post. I mean, a lot of users of YouTube don't. But do you know what I mean? Like, I shouldn't take this to be the be-all and end-all of comments and matter, because it could just be someone fake with a fake account. It could be Peter Folding with 10 fake accounts. So I don't care about what people with a Lucy Lastic. I just don't care. Because it's nobody. It might even not be really somebody. Like, it's nice that people leave comments on the video that are positive and, you know, stuff like that, but you understand what I'm saying. Actually, I don't have to read it out, can it, do I? Let's save myself some time. Text to speech. Doody doody doo doo doo. Doody doody doo. Doody doody doo doo doo. Doody doody doo. Doing chunks. Actually, I wonder if I can pause the text to speaker while it's playing.
LL give you 10 minutes.
Yeah, you can.
LL give you 10 minutes.
Oh no, when you unpause it, it starts right back from the start again. That's a bit annoying. But I can delete those lines as I read them, can't I? Okay. So let's put it all in. Doody doody doo doo doo. Doody doody doo. God, I can't even scroll down to get it all in. I mean, look at it all. What is this about? Doody doody doo doo doo. Doody doody doo. You have to just deal with me touching my nose all stream. Doody doody doo doo doo. I might just start doing cocaine. If I'm going to reach my nose all day. Right. Right.
I'll give you 10 minutes, Deborah, to type out my thoughts. It's easy to speed someone's...
Right, first of all, condescending, patronising. I will give you 10 minutes. Not more than. And you should feel grateful, because I'm giving you 10 minutes.
It's easy to speed someone's talking to make the dialogue seem angry, so I'll not make an apology for how it came across.
Eddie's saying that because I sped him up, he seemed angry, but that's not true. The reason he seemed angry is because he was angry and he kept getting eggy. It's easy to speed something up so it seems angry. So now I have to watch him at normal speed so he doesn't seem as angry. It's not that speeding people up makes them seem angry. It's that you are angry.
It's easy to speed someone's talking to make the dialogue seem angry, so I'll not make an apology for how it came across. So let's look at this need for an apology that would go on deaf ears.
So the way it came across was because of the things you said, the content of what you were saying, not necessarily the speed you were saying it after I speed it up. So to not apologise for it, I would say a mistake.
So let's look at this need for an apology that would go on deaf ears.
Fall on deaf ears.
So let's look at this need for an apology that would go on deaf ears. For people got it from me on how I see things. Trisha Gelder, I did not light that fire. It was Trisha who said I reminded her of an ex-relationship.
I agree. I know that Trisha's made a live stream saying that, prove to me where I said this, but I remember being on the stream where she said she got the vibe from Eddy, and the reason she got the vibe is because she'd been in a previous relationship. Well, she didn't maybe necessarily link the two in the same sentence like that, I'm paraphrasing, but from my understanding, she gets the vibe about Eddy because she's been in a relationship in the past that was abusive. And so once you've experienced abusive people, narcissistic abusive people, you find them easier to recognize.
Trisha Gelder, I did not light that fire. It was Trisha who said I reminded her of an ex-relationship. In her live stream, she explained her ex had thrown a cup against a wall and a chair through an oven door. I have never done anything like that. I never said she had read my tarot reading. I said that if she could work out who I am whilst living on the other side of the world. Why couldn't she work out who he was living in the same house?
Right, yeah, so you're repeating it. And I think because Trisha was a little bit upset, naturally, that she got a little bit wound into the things he was saying, and he's now able to sort of pick apart her response rather than dealing with the initial grievance. So what he's saying in picking apart her response is that he never directly said that she'd done him on a tarot reading. So when she said, I've never done you on a tarot reading, that's a straw man. I said, if she could work out who I am whilst living on the other side of the world, why couldn't she work out who he was living in the same house? So that's the sentiment. But what he said was, why didn't her tarot cards give her the heads up, basically? And the reason for that is simply this. That you might have thought I just picked something out of my ear then and rubbed it up my nose. I put cream in my ear. Like, fuck, I look stupid now. God damn it. I got some dry skin in my ear from wearing the headphones all the time. So I've literally put white, I've put white Sudocrem in my ear. So I thought I might take it from my ear and apply it to my nose because it's itchy. All right, forget it. Don't worry about it. That's not the most important thing. So what he's saying is he's never done anything like that. He said he's read the tarot reading. Yeah, I said that if she could work out who I am whilst living on the other side of the world, why couldn't she work out who he was living in the same house? Oh my God, doubling down on the same issue, even worse. Okay, I'm glad you didn't turn this into a video, to be honest, because you'd have had to delete this as well. Why couldn't she work out who she was living in the same house? I think she could. She didn't need tarot cards for that, and she wasn't a tarot reader back then. She hadn't gone on that part of her life spiritual journey. However, working out who someone is and extricating yourself from a situation where you are married to them and they have not suddenly, but developed or, shown you this other side of themselves, it's not easy, is it? So while she may have worked out who he was, it doesn't mean that working out who someone is, being in situations and extricating yourself from them, it's not that easy. I was unaware her relationship was much worse than a guy throwing furniture around. Were you? You should maybe pay more attention. And when I found out the magnitude of what she'd been through, I was naturally shocked and upset I'd made that comment. Well, thank God you made a massive, contrite apology video then, and a public donation to a domestic violence charity. Thank God you did that. Which you didn't. That being said, meaning even though I'm saying sorry, I'm not really that sorry. I'm saying a public sorry for what everyone's cross about. But even though I've said that, if her relationship was that bad, I'm even more shocked she compared me with him. But you're giving her the same vibe. It's not whether you hit someone in the face every time you're angry. It's whether you lash out verbally, emotionally, can't take it, can't deal with it. It's those things. Some of what Trisha went through is truly disgusting and shocking. I'm absolutely nothing like that, and I've never been so. Take your word for it. Although being like that means, like the other day when you were on your video doing those things, you seemed a bit like that. And like you people that have got this sense, like they see that on the video, right? This personal attack feeling, like defending yourself, turning into a personal attack and picking on people and naming and listing and like going through all that. We've seen that, right? And it is a bit like that. So you are being a bit like that. Like you can't argue you're not. And then the problem with this is that people then see that and then they go, well, if he's like that on a video that he's carefully controlling and recording, what happens if you're sat in the same room as him and there's nobody else there and you've wound him up, or he is wound up? Sorry, you've wound him up is the wrong phrase. He is wound up and he's blaming it on you, and you can't. And what happens then? And these situations look different if you're not watching a video on YouTube. You're actually a person in the room with someone. So that's what people worry about. And when they get that vibe, they're like, ooh. You telling me you're not a bad person and showing me on the internet that you can totally behave in that way on a video is different. I'm terribly sorry to learn of her past, and my throwaway comment, it's not a throwaway comment, it was a carefully thought out, like, pre-planned attack as far as we could see, because you even told us that you had watched, you talked to people about making the video and they'd suggested you didn't make it, so it's premeditated. So what you're doing here is you are devaluing the offence. It's not an apology to say, listen, I'm sorry, but it wasn't that bad, so I don't actually have to be sorry. I mean, that reminds me of what I did recently when we had this thing with, there was a bit of a, I don't want to turn it into a big thing, but there was a bit of a, you know, behind the scenes, few messages going on to me about like what's going on with the mod situation. So I just thought I'd clear it up and just be like, all right, reducing the number of mods, less of a confusion. But it turned into, and I said, well, I'm not really sorry because I haven't done anything to be sorry about. But honestly, I do feel sorry if people feel unhappy, but I can't really gauge that from just sitting here reading a few comments. Like, it's just a bit like, yeah, and I sometimes feel personally, yeah, like, you know, if it's not worth being angry about, I don't know if it's worth me apologising over. But here I am contradicting myself, so I suppose I have to take that on the chin myself as well. It's not about me, this one. So a comment now seems far worse for that, and I'm sorry. I'm reading it now. What am I doing? Hang on, wait, why am I reading it?
Why couldn't she work out who he was living in the same house? I was unaware her relationship was much worse than a guy throwing furniture around, and when I found out the magnitude of what she'd been through, I was naturally shocked and upset I'd made that.
Let's just change the voice because he's English.
I was unaware her relationship was much worse than a guy throwing furniture around,
Sorry,
and when I found out the magnitude of what she'd been through, I was naturally shocked and upset I'd made that. Comment. That being said, if her relationship was that bad, I'm even more shocked she compared me with him. Some of what Trisha went through is truly disgusting and shocking. I am absolutely nothing like that and have never been so.
I'll take your word for it.
I am terribly sorry to learn of her past, and my throwaway comment now seems far worse, and for that I am sorry.
Make a video.
I have reached out to one of her friends to give me her email address so I can send a better explanation along with an apology.
I wouldn't go with the explanation. See, this is like, how have you got to this age, Eddie, and you've not learned about how to properly apologise when you are in the wrong? Like, you don't, the explanation part isn't part of it. Like, the apology part is part of it. Everyone knows what's going on. Like, that's why they're cross. Like, you don't need to explain it to them so that they understand it better or reinterpret what they're thinking to them. Like, they're allowed to think what they think, and then you have to deal with that, I suppose. But it's nice that you're sending her a private apology, but because what you did was so public, it might also be nice to do a public one, mightn't it? Considering the slurs you cast across her business and personality.
I have reached out to one of her friends to give me her email address so I can send a better explanation along with an apology. I also feel that because I said a name in Jack, when I said why not tell Jack to be gone, that was also taken out of context. I was merely referring to a name from a Ray Charles song. Hit the road, Jack.
I mean, everyone knows about the word Jack not being her actual partner's name, so that's an irrelevant part for me.
I was merely referring to a name from a Ray Charles song.
But maybe some people have got eggy about it.
Hit the road, Jack. I also feel that when I said I personally have no time for tarot cards, it was taken like I was saying she was rubbish, which is not the case.
You did say what she was doing was bollocks. Like, personally, Trisha's stuff is bollocks. Like, I can say tarot cards are bollocks, and I'm probably guilty of this myself, so, you know, hands up here, I might be being a hypocrite, but, like, it's hard when you're talking on the internet at random, so I'll give him that. But you can have the opinion that tarot cards are bollocks, but when you say Trisha's stuff is bollocks, then that's different, isn't it? You were personally attacking her and her brand and her channel, and part of it was the tarot, yes, but you were saying Trisha's stuff is bollocks, really. Like, 'cause it wasn't just the tarot you were disagreeing with.
I also feel that when I said I personally have no time for tarot cards, it was taken like I was saying she was rubbish, which is not the case. If anyone wants or needs a service for either spiritual or just entertainment, that's absolutely fine, and out of the 4 people I pulled up, Trisha is the only one that deserves any financial reward. Vicky Marie, if anyone wants to give anyone any money, that's their business. I meant that if you give money because of constantly being asked, it seems a tad rude. I'd rather receive money by way of not asking for it, and that's my simple point I was making. If that has offended her, I feel she should simply ignore my words, or better still. I also feel that when I said I personally have I'd rather receive money by...
I just went and literally washed my face so that my nose wouldn't itch so much. So we're saying that the tarot cards is fine now, even though he wasn't really saying that. So again, it's not that it was taken like you were saying she was rubbish, it's that you actually said it. And I think you should make an apology video like this again. Like this, the reason I said this stupid long comment is stupid and long is that people aren't going to make this. Isn't for Deborah, she might read it and then Debbie might think, okay, whatever. But for the rest of the audience, they're not going to read this, and it doesn't act as a sort of public apology, really, even though it's publicly stated as an apology. It doesn't act in that way, not to the wider audience on YouTube in the way they consume the media. So then the Vicky Marie stuff about money in the business. Let's be clear. He thinks Vicky's a grifter. Fair enough. I've watched her content. Like everyone else, she uses the tropes of YouTube that were taught to them by YouTube Creator Academy. When you start a video, say, hi, like and subscribe. Here's my Tippy link. You know, like all this sort of common parlance now of YouTube that some people see as e-begging. There's a scale and a gradient to it. And Vicky Marie is not completely pure, clean, white, absolved of all guilt for the e-begging. She does a little bit of it. She does, but she's not the most egregious e-beggar, and she's certainly not a scammer insofar as she's not promising something that you don't get. She's not like with some other YouTubers, they'll say, join me in Patreon later and I'll tell you the real details and stuff like that. She's not really doing that. You know, she's offering what she offers, and it's up to people whether they decide to take her up on that. And she does ask sometimes directly super chats. No, wait. She might not directly ask for super chats. I can't confirm nor deny that. But what I mean is she will list her payment methods and ways of, you know, remuneration early on in the episode, later on in the episode. She will make a point of it. Fair enough. If you want to go after YouTube grifters, I mean, maybe she's overlapping in the world, so you've bumped into Vicky Marie on the streets of YouTube. But it seems weird that she's the one you want to pick out when there's such a lot of other YouTube grifters. There's so many others, and Eddy was directly faced with one stealing his content and using it on their own channel, which was even worse than what Vicky Marie does in terms of grift, which is to steal content and use it and ask for money for it. And we're not, you know, didn't launch any sort of campaign against that. So it does feel weird that we're singling out and picking on ladies, essentially. Let's carry on with this. Let's hope it just picks up from here.
I'd rather receive money by way of not asking for it. And that's my simple point I was making. If that has offended her, I feel she should simply ignore my words, or better still, not listen in the first place. I was not happy with her initial rudeness to Peter Falding either, but that's her right to free speech. But surely my views are no more than my right to free speech too.
Absolutely. We're not arguing with your freedom to speak, are we? I'll defend your freedom to speak, Eddy. In fact, do it more. Yeah, you have that right. I don't think anyone's critiquing you on that. Again, we're diverting and we're sort of we're diluting the original offence by defending ourselves against a point that has not been, you know, no one's saying he doesn't have the freedom to say this.
But surely my views are no more than my right to free speech too. Chris is dangerous. I'll never apologize to a man that has been ripping into me for months, calling me names, and making up false accusations about who I am. If he doesn't like my views, I seriously don't care.
Fair enough. Nobody really knew much about Chris until you made a big video about him. The thing that strikes me, and this is my video, so I can talk about me and my feelings and ideas. Hey, Minka, do you want to come up here? Come on, I'll pick you up. Come here, I'll pick you up. The thing that strikes me about that is that when Chris cottoned on, like, you know, Chris has not been a big viewer of the Super Chuffer channel, or he hasn't made a lot of comments about Super Chuffer on his thing, on his Substack, on his blog. Actually, I can see a cat hair floating in the air right now. I can see cat hairs floating in the air. There's little cat hairs on my microphone. I think this cat has little hairs going on, and I think those tickle me. I think it's that. Because I come in this room, she's been sleeping in this room on this chair. I think it's tickling my nose. It's definitely, my nose feels more tickly now I'm doing this. Big ups Brooklyn 999, happy days. Yeah, you've had problems with Vicky Marie in her chats yourself. So you think she's rude, fair enough. Like, I can't, you know, bear in mind, I can't I can't comment on your personal experience because I wasn't there having that personal experience, but I can take it on board what you're saying. But be careful, please, in our streams, not to what's the word? I guess it's fair what you're saying because we're talking about Vicky and you've got an opinion on her, so you're voicing it. But I'd caution people about sort of over voicing a negative opinion because it might look like you're sort of trying to attack her every time she comes up. But I don't think you're doing that, but it could end up looking like that if it got like that. So I'm just trying to be sort of diplomatic there. But I see what you're saying, And certainly I'd have to check out more of her content to find out, but then am I going to spend my life to check? Well, maybe we should. Maybe we'll look at more of her videos, but she doesn't want anyone to watch her videos on their channels and talk about them. She told us that. So yeah. I mean, it's good to have opinions. It's good to have different opinions, yeah. It's fair enough. I'm not, I'm just cautioning you in case, because that chat came up twice. Maybe because the first one didn't come up because I had to add the permitted term or something. I just was cautioning you. Not in a bad way, not like a yellow card send off, just saying like, you know what I'm saying. Anyway, so yeah, I would say here, what was I even saying?
I seriously don't care.
All right, yeah. Chris Substack thing. When it came up, Chris writes this Substack blog, and when I dropped my Nicola Bully video recently, it came up to him, like, he obviously saw that video because he made a comment to me on Twitter about, in the same way as what Eddie's getting cross about there, about me being a shill and about me not having done any research for my video, but instead being fed all the information and just reporting it like I'm a shill. And very much what that angry chuffer said to me in the early days about me being supported by Martin Dean, like some sort of delusional narcissism that was. But the reality is that I did all that research. So to make Chris, I know I don't have to do this, and I could just turn to people like Chris and say, fuck off, you nutter, yeah? But to make Chris happy, because I perceive, Chris might not be a real person. Chris might be working on behalf of the government, putting out misinformation. I don't know. It's just somebody writing a blog under the name Chris. It could be a 60-year-old man, it could be a 10-year-old girl. I don't know, But to make Chris happy, if it's a real person, they are writing this real stuff, it was the work of seconds on Twitter. I just replied to their message with, hit me up on DM, got them on the direct message, got my phone and screenshotted my computer screen, the time, the date, it's all on there. I'm doing it immediate to request. So showed them all of my research, all of my watch history. I can't make that up and what's the word? I can't Photoshop it because I'm not that quick. Like Chris requested it, I did it quite quick, and the screenshot of the phone, like it's like I'm photographing the screen like that. Do you know what I mean? It's not a screenshot where I can mess about with it so much. It's a photograph of the screen, and I can change the angle of the phone and show you that it's just photographing the screen. I can video it, whatever. I gave Chris enough direct evidence for him to know that what he accused me of was not correct. And once I'd done that, he was like, fair enough, okay? You are a real person. I stand corrected. So I don't know what Eddie did with Chris and what's going on with Chris and Eddie, but Eddie's not been able to, or not tried to maybe, or whatever, to placate Chris, nor does he need to. He doesn't have to. But if he has got this problem with someone writing this blog about him and he wants to, there's two ways to go about it, or three, I suppose. One is to ignore it. One is to suggest to the person that's writing the blog, here is the truth, and here is the evidence for the truth, so now shut up and leave me alone. To a certain extent, you don't want to reveal, like, I didn't want to show Chris's Substack my login details to YouTube, did I? But I showed him my YouTube account and my watch history. He's not going to like hack me based on that, but you want to be a bit careful. I'm not going to show him my fucking address and bank details to prove who I am, but at the same time you can prove who you are in some sort of way to him, and then that's that. But Eddie's gone obviously for months dealing with Chris saying bad things about him or incorrect things and not corrected him behind the scenes so that he doesn't. So that's interesting, because you would think that you would if it's troubling you, yeah, because it's easy to do. And then the second thing that he was angry about was that or the second way to deal with this, sorry, would be to publicly go after Chris, like in terms of legal action, in terms, like if it's slander and defamation, it's lies and it's wrong, then go after him publicly and say, I'm taking you to court, these are the details, this is why, stop it now or I will continue. And then if he continues, you continue, and then eventually you win and he stops it because he's telling lies and you can do the court thing. Okay, it takes some time and it takes some monies, but usually in the court system, if you win that, then you don't have to pay all the monies. So it's fine. But he's not done any of that. And instead, he sort of had a go at him on a video about being fake. And some of the other stuff in the video, like, again, I suggested in Eddie's first video when he did the rants, he should have split them up. A rant about Chris, a rant about Trisha, a rant about Vicky Marie, and he should give them all their own title on their own video. And the reason, big ups Kel Dappy, how do you search the YouTube transcript? I'll tell you in just a second. The reason he should have done it in separate videos is because I was being facetious, of course, because it looks more like you're one of those ranty nutters who makes everyone their own video. But in actual fact, the reason he should have done it for this would have meant that the stuff about Chris would have been in a video about Chris. The stuff about Trisha, he's apologising for and saying he's wrong, yeah? Like he's saying in this reply that I'm wrong about what I said about Trisha. So basically, my last video that I made, it was wrong. I'm not going to, wait, I'm not saying this. This is what Eddy was saying. I don't want anyone to cut this and make it look like I'm saying something. Clip me out of context for this. The last video Eddy did, it was wrong. All right, so what about the bit about Chris? Oh no, that bit was right. But the bits before it and after it, they were wrong. So now you've got a video where you're saying, no, I was definitely right about something, but not everything. So believe me honestly, in the bit that I was right about, it would have been easier for you to just do separate videos and be right about things or wrong about things in separate videos. Because now we're conflating all these different people together in this one big issue. And really, I don't think Debbie was as angry about what you said about Chris as she was probably what you said about Vicky or Trisha, because Chris is a nameless, faceless, I said nameless, he's got a name, but it's a faceless person that we know nothing about that writes a blog on the internet. So being personally mean doesn't affect them because they can't feel personally offended, or they shouldn't, because you can't be like, if I said I think Chris smells, or Chris is like too tall or too short or something, then Chris doesn't, he knows that I have never smelt him, and neither have I seen how tall or short he is. I don't even know if it's really a he or a she or anything. So I can't judge. So my judgment means nothing. Yeah. Whereas Eddy's saying that Chris's judgment of Eddy means something quite important. He's very angry about it, but Eddy's not prepared to sort of do the normal things that you would do to combat that. Instead, to call it out in a video and have a pop and stuff like that. And he's not going to apologise for this anyway, because he still thinks that Eddy's still saying that Chris is telling lies about him. I haven't read what Chris has said about Eddy recently for Eddy to feel like that, so I don't know exactly what we're critiquing there, but he's standing by that anyway. Okay, big ups Red Fan for the gifted tier sub. Thank you for the 72 total tier subs, thank you very much. And Slick Willy D, congratulations for picking that up. And so here I would say the same, I guess. My point was that I'm not the one that feels upset. Talking about me and whether I'm deflecting issues is not necessarily the issue here, but I'm being used as a deflection. It's very weird. And I don't think I do deflect issues, because the video with Eddy, for example, someone said, Eddy's made this video, can we watch it? And I was like, okay. And then I watched it, and then I said what I thought straight on. Like, I didn't hide from it. I don't deflect away to something else, and I got talking about the Incredible Hulk, and then I got talking about other Marvel movies, and then we started to watch a bit of Wonder Woman, and oh, by the way, we're watching an Eddy video. No, I was like directly talking about what Eddy was saying and directly doing it here as well. So I would contradict that statement there. He's paranoid, definitely not. Okay, definitely not. I've been paranoid when I was younger, talking of smoking weed, talking of mental health, talking of anxiety. You know, I've been paranoid. I know what paranoia feels like. You know, to have anxiety attacks, or to worry about things that are necessarily, like, that you don't necessarily need to worry about, sort of thing. So I've literally been through the process, like when I was younger as well. This isn't like, I'm a grown up now, so I'm not talking about, like, you know, last week. But I went through a process where I spoke to doctors, mental health professionals, did antidepressants. I'm basically off them. Like, I've been through the process. Like, I would advise anyone go to therapy. To sit down and talk to someone once a week is great for your mental health. And basically, as well, with the anxiety, like, there are things you can do with anxiety. Cognitive behavioural therapy was fan-bloody-tastic. So I'm not some mess, some confused, dope-head, paranoid mess. In fact, definitely not paranoid. And if I were to ever feel a bit paranoid, I'm not on the internet talking about gang stalkers and stuff, am I? And like peeping out the windows in case someone comes to attack me. Like, if I were to ever feel like that, I would climb the fuck down from it, calm myself, center myself, because I know the ways to get to stop my brain from running away with itself and to get control and rein myself in. So I'm not paranoid, I'd say. But I suppose I would say that, but no, I wouldn't. If I was feeling anxious, I'd tell you. Chain dope smoking all day, every day, absolutely not. Of course, Eddie doesn't see me at any point other than when I'm on a stream. Yeah. Doesn't see how much I put in here. You don't know if that's a cigarette with a little bit of weed in it just there, or if it's full of weed completely packed. Like, you don't know. It's an assumption. Obviously, I do smoke a lot of weed. I love it. But you to use it against me is to say that the the feeling of being stoned for you is that you get paranoid and confused, so you can't deal with it. So me, I shouldn't be able to deal with it either. But actually, I feel quite chilled when I have a little smoke and do the streams. So it's actually quite useful to me in a way. We've all got different balances. I don't drink at all. I don't drink any alcohol. And I've seen, I'm not pointing any fingers at any of you in chat, right? But I've seen a couple of other channels recently who have been throwing their little egg around and they're drunk. You know, if you're going to go on a stream or make a video while you're drunk or drinking, as you do, big glass of wine for this one, then like, not Eddie here. Not Eddie's not the one saying this, but you know, people in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. I'll tell you what, I'm a lot more balanced off a little few of these than I am off a bottle of wine. So go fuck yourselves, everyone. I'm happy who I am. Dropping hints he'd like to have a wife and children. It's not hints. I would like to have a wife and children. Most people, normal human aspiration, family. There ain't a woman on this planet, unless she's a dope head, that would go anywhere near him. So that's like an attack. But Eddie's not a woman, so he doesn't know that. I mean, maybe there are women that are dope heads, and maybe there are women that aren't dope heads that have gone near me, because I've had a variety of different relationships, and none of this hurts me. I just don't care. So don't worry about me and that.
Scott, here's a guy that is very smart in deflecting issues. He's paranoid. Chain dope smoking all day every day. Dropping hints he'd like to have a wife and children. There ain't a woman on this planet, unless she's a dope head, that would go anywhere near him. I mean,
I don't know, I can't comment on Eddie's sex life, yeah? And I certainly can't comment on my own, because since COVID it's non-existent. But thankfully, just like the drinking, I've done enough in my youth to make up for that. So really, I know exactly about who would or wouldn't go near me. And I'm quite comfortable and happy with it.
There ain't a woman on this planet, unless she's a dope head, that would go anywhere near him.
Oh no!
He has created the expanded rift between me and Trisha, and he knows it.
No, you did that with your video and the things you said. I think she was angry about that and upset about that because of what you said, not because of what I said.
He has created the expanded rift between me and Trisha, and he knows it. He has said rude things about me, made me appear angry when I was not. He has lied about saying I had driven a truck for Ernie when he clearly did. Okay,
no, I didn't. I didn't say that. What's been drawn to my attention is that because he's saying this, what's happened is that someone said in chat while we were talking about Eddie in the first case that, why do you think he's doing this? And I said, I don't know. Maybe he drove trucks for Ernie back in the day. Maybe he was connected as the bookkeeper, or maybe he was working with the police. I don't know. But he seems to have come from the same area, and he seems to have been part of the same social setup in the same time of history. You know, he seems to be in that area in that time. Like, I didn't say that he drove trucks for Ernie. So this thing that he's getting well head to pick up about, again, now we're doing the same thing as Chris's Substack. If you want me to, if you want to deal with this, Eddie, and you think I've said this, come after me in court, come after me legally, make me take the video down, show it me, clip it, you know, let's do it properly, and I'll fight you all the way, and then I'll win. So you can just deal with that. You know, you can just fucking deal with it. But crying about it in comments to Deborah is fucking pathetic. I didn't ever say it. I won't stand by it as like, it's straw manning me now. The way I said it was clearly, and I haven't got the clip either, so, you know, I'm just going on what I know of my own heart and soul, who I am, but would have been clearly just me throwing out conjecture as to a reason why you would be behaving in the way you are, not standing by it as a fact that I've researched or something that I'm saying even is true. I would have said maybe this or maybe that, or it could have been this. I don't know. So this is absolutely bizarre, and you can stick it up your bum.
He has lied about saying I had driven a truck for Ernie when he clearly did. He took the piss out my appearance and my hair.
Yes, because you said that Vicky Marie was wearing a wig. So it was game on, motherfucker.
He took the piss out my appearance and my hair. I am in my mid-50s and expect grey hair, and the fact I'm thinning. Who cares? It's called old age.
So that old age is now changing because you said you were the same sort of age as Alan. You're now a lot younger than you said you were before. Like, do we need to see a birth certificate now, Eddie? What's going on?
He took the piss out my appearance and my hair. I am in my mid-50s and expect grey hair, and the fact I'm thinning.
Yo, Brooklyn, she was wearing a wig though. I don't know. I think you want to be careful about that. Again, you know, we are friends, but I've said when Vicky comes up, don't hammer her. Like, I don't think she's been wearing a wig. She looks like, and if she is, right, then a lot of ladies do wear wigs. I've been a hairdresser, okay? So this is like a little bit of a touchy subject for me, as it is for all the ladies that have alopecia or thinning hair or anything like that. It is certainly not the gentlemanly thing to do to call attention to it on a YouTube video and to poke at someone and have a pop at them if they are. It is certainly not becoming of a gentleman to do that. In fact, it goes right in the bin. So you are a friend of ours in chat, and you know, I would assume if you are male, a gentleman, please be careful. Please don't throw yourself under the bus with Eddie here, because it's not very nice to, like, you know, think about people's feelings. Certain people's feelings, like, you know, don't worry about my feelings, okay? I do not have the same sensitivity that some of these people seem to have. But Vicky is a lady on the internet in public, and to be talking about her public, like, it's just a little bit, you know, now everyone's going to go through all my stuff and find comments that I made about foodie beauty and stuff like that. But, you know, being a massive narcissist that's caused your own problems because you want money on the internet is different. Like, I just think that this is a ballpark where we need to be careful, because otherwise we're degenerating as social beings into nasty people. So we want to be careful about that. And I don't know, maybe it's just something that I was taught, the sort of levels of respect that people gain, not by being a very wonderful, giving, loving person. Even sometimes I think they're not very nice people, some of them, but they might be, I don't know, like, this is going to sound sexist and ageist, I suppose, but older than me or a lady, and I'm to give them respect and to open the door for them and to be nice to them and, you know, polite, and like, and that extends to not the opposite, like to taking offense to the opposite. And if it was my nan, or if it was my mom, or if it was my sister, how would I feel if, you know, those sort of things. So I careful about that. I am.
He took the piss out.
But you're going to be able to find loads of incidents where I'm absolutely not as well, aren't you? You're going to be able to find loads of incidents. But I suppose it's different strokes at different times, really. If it's about comedy, fun, having a laugh, you know, not expecting, like, Eddie made this video expecting Vicky to watch it. Do you know what I mean? Like, expecting her to hear it. He's like made it for her to hear. There's a different level to sort of, like, I guess when I made a video about Foodie Beauty, who is also a lady, but, like, you know, I made a video about her not expecting that she'd watch it, like, just more for us to have a laugh about. I think there's a different context maybe, but I suppose I don't want to label myself a massive hypocrite here, but I think I could be a hypocrite here. But, you know, still, judge is gonna judge, and what do you expect me to do while I'm watching this video about this?
He took the piss out my appearance and my hair.
Reading this comment.
He took the piss out my appearance and my hair. I am in my mid-50s and expect grey hair, and the fact I'm thinning. Who cares? It's called old age. Let's see how he deals with it, cause it ain't that far away for him.
I told you how I'd deal with it. I'd be angry and it'll be a hurt to my ego. I don't want my hair to come out and disappear, but it will, and it is. And yeah, I am older and my beard is greyer, and now I can't have sex with anyone under the age of, like, I don't know, 30. I want to say 25, but I suppose let's be honest on the internet. All right, so, like, you know, there's a problem in my life now, which is that I am older than I used to be. And when I used to be younger, I had a fucking wild time. I have to accept it, I know. I told you it's going to be difficult for me, but I will deal with it. And don't worry about me and my feelings, Eddie, because, Like, this isn't really about that, is it? Deflecting, turning it into a thing about Super Chuffer, expecting Super Chuffer to be most angry and wound up about the things you say about me, so that we lose sight of what you said about these other people who I think actually, like what you said about Trisha and the stuff you said. I mean, in a way, you said you're going to apologise, in a way, but you haven't, and publicly not. So, yeah. But privately, you might have done. So I'll let you know, who am I to chastise you in public about? Privately, you were going to. Yeah, okay. But publicly, you had the pop on the video, so.
Let's see how he deals with it, 'cause it ain't that far away for him. And if he carries on the way he is, he'll be on his own for the rest of his days.
I'm not on my own. I've got family around me and friends. I've had different romantic partners over my life, and should I choose to engage in that, like the last time I wanted to be in a romantic relationship, I was, until I decided I didn't, and then since then I haven't felt like I decided I want to be. I felt more like doing other stuff, so I'm okay.
Let's see how he deals with it, 'cause it ain't that far away for him. And if he carries on the way he is, he'll be on his own for the rest of his days.
Wow, I've reached the limit. I'm not upgrading. Fuck off. I was enjoying this. I've reached the limit. Right. Let's copy the rest of it into a different text-to-speech then. I mean, that was going really well, you stupid website with your text-to-speech. You can give me a limit. I use that natural reader for stuff. Now I've got a limit. I've just used it up. Used up all my minutes. It's like when you use up all your minutes. Like, do you know when you got your internet on your phone and you use up all your minutes? Have you done that? Or it used to be your call minutes, didn't it? It used to be your actual phone minutes. You were doing. Do you remember when you were doing texts and you can't send that one because you've used up all your minutes? Do you remember that? And you'd have to like top up the mobile. I mean, they still go there, don't they? Like, people still have top up mobiles, but I'm on a contract now. But my contract with the minutes. It's the minutes for the internet are, you can use the internet as much as you want whenever, except when you really want to use it, in which case we're going to send you a text message saying your minutes are now up. You could buy more minutes if you need them, but if you think you're using that Google Maps to get yourself all the way to Manchester, you've got another thing coming, matey. And I'm like, hang on, did you know that I only need it now? Because while I was watching YouTube videos in the fucking shed the other day, you didn't tell me my minutes were at stake here. No jeopardy over the minutes there. But the minute I get on the fucking motorway and I'm driving to Manchester and need Google Maps, it's like, oh, your internet's going to run out. I think they know. I think they let you watch as many YouTube videos in the fucking shed as you want. But motorway to Manchester, important Google Maps. No. $4.99 on the minutes, mate. $4.99 on the minutes. Right, let's jump over to this other place here where you can paste exactly. Where's the... Hang on. I don't want to sign in, sign up. Get started free. I'm not signing in, signing up. Free. Yeah, I do. Come on, Nate.
The reason I will not apologize to him is that his views are much worse than simple views. He has called Peter Faulding a murderer on several occasions.
What? I mean, he's a trained murderer, isn't he? No offence to the people in the army, but isn't that one of the things they train you to go and do? We're straw manning me again. He's called Peter Faulding a murderer several occasions. I mean, I might have talked about the concept that he could have done a murder. You know, we've talked around the concept, but I haven't done a show called Peter Faulding Murderer, have I? Come on, Nate.
He has called Ernie Bully out for being responsible for the death of his own daughter. You don't get any more vulgar than that.
I didn't call him out for being responsible for the death of his own daughter. I called him out for being involved in the animal transport operation that I believe masks further criminal activity, and that world is responsible for the death of Nicola Bully. Not that Ernie himself directly, but that his involvement in that world has caused Nicola, and I don't know what her part in any of this is, whether she's whistleblower or whatever, but some part in all this has caused her to become a vulnerable target. So I didn't say that Ernie went out and murdered his daughter. So Eddie's really not diluting it, but distilling everything down into a very, very crystallized form of what I said, and it's a misinterpretation maybe, you know, because I don't think that's fair to, if you want to argue it in court, you will lose, because you will have what I said and then you'll have your interpretation of it, and they're not exactly the same. Big ups Red Fan for the gifted tier sub. Tabby Whisper picks that up. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yet you feel I should apologize to these people.
It's when you read, maybe it's Nate reading it out, yeah, but again, Eddy said that his tone, because we sped him up, made him sound angry, and he wasn't really angry. But this statement, when Nate reads it out, does sound angry.
Yet you feel I should apologize to these people. The only apology I'll make is to Trisha, and to my followers that had to endure my frustration at Christmas.
Doesn't it? Nate makes it sound angry now. Well, I'm glad you apologised to Trisha then. In a way. You see, now it seems like he's apologised to her, doesn't it? But he hasn't. He said he would, and he said he will, but he hasn't. Not in my eyes, not in a proper apology way.
Scott says my video was bad timing to upload at Christmas.
No! You said my video was bad timing to upload at Christmas. Are you fucking insane? Are you fucking insane? Oh, I'm gonna have to sign up to one of these fucking things now, because they want me to sign up now. I'm not allowed to do it just for free anymore. Oh no, I'm back. Come on. It's everyone in chat. Can you tell me in chat if you remember what Eddy said in his video? And did he say that it was me that was bad for uploading my video at Christmas? I mean, or did I say it was him that was bad? Obviously, I threw that back at him by saying his video dropped just days before Christmas. So everything you say at me, I will just accuse you of exactly back, because or was the principle of his whole fucking video that my video was bad timing? Like, are we not just reversing victim and offender here?
Scott says my video was bad timing to upload at Christmas. I took it down because that's the one statement I agreed with. So to prove he is a complete hypocrite, he uploads the video on Christmas Day.
No. Thank you very much, Red Fan, for another gifted tier sub to Kelly Dappy. Thank you. I didn't upload the video on Christmas Day. Like, YouTube will actually, this one, I'm not even going to ask, like, chat, you know, you can have your opinions, but this one I can fucking prove, right? Because if I go to, wait, if I go to YouTube, let's go to my channel, and then videos, and then Merry Christmas Angry Eddy, yeah, and I click on it, right? I can't fix and change this. This is live on the internet. I go down here, it says premiered, and it says it on the fucking premiere, so I can't fix or change this. Look, it says it there. December 24th, 2023. Now, some religions do celebrate Christmas Day on different days. Like, you might not adhere to the Gregorian calendar, but the rest of us in the Western world watch that video on Christmas Eve, you fuckhead. Oh.
Scott says my video was bad timing to upload at Christmas. I took it down because that's the one statement I agreed with. So to prove he is a complete hypocrite, he uploads the video on Christmas Day.
Well. I'm not even saying anything directly bad about Eddy. All I said is that I, don't get the right vibe anymore. I think he defended Ernie. He did defend Ernie, all of his content about the Nicola Bully stuff was to point away from Ernie. He even said it in his latest video. I love the Nicola Bully family. Big up the Nicola Bully family. Me and Nicola Bully family are like that. I've never met them, never talked to them, but that's his vibe, and I don't like it. But that doesn't mean anything about Eddy can go to the supermarket, and I'm not in the supermarket doing anything about Eddy. It doesn't hurt him in any way. It doesn't hurt his life and his feelings. I've got less than. I've got 10,000 subscribers, or slightly less than 10,000 subscribers on the YouTube channel, on the main channel, and on the Battery Exhausted, I've got less than that. And in the big scheme, in the big world, I don't think you could argue this is causing you distress or discomfort unless there's something wrong in your own psyche. I just think we're talking about things that you talk about in your videos, Eddy, reacting to, responding to. So I think it should be fine. But it's got down this like really like this road now, hasn't it? What's next? Paragraph by paragraph now. I'm glad he did them in paragraphs actually. In his 10 minutes of I'm turning this into an actual video in some ways, aren't I? From a script. This is how to do it. This is a really weird thing that I'm doing. I just find I'm living a really bizarre life. Look, if you'd have told me we should do this actually as part of a stream, we might do a bit of it today. I might just do it on freelance, off the cuff. But I should look over my own content from the last year and see how we've changed, because none of you, like, let's be fair, right? Not being dissing any of you here. Like, I love you all, but none of you were here a year ago. Where were you a year ago? Where were you a year ago? But you weren't. None of you were here a year ago, right? And that's great. Like, I've grown like massively over the course of a year. I don't know what my point was here. Hang on, I'm losing my own marbles now. Let me just quickly though. Videos. Let's do live streams, and let's go back literally 12 months ago. So you were here for this. You were here for this. Thus, Paul Ansell and all that. But if you actually go back 12 months ago to the review of the year with Steve of the Dead, that video, the review of the year with Steve of the Dead, so that's exactly like, you know, New Year's edition, 2022, New Year's Eve version. That got 517 views. Thank you very much. 500 views. Before that, exactly a year ago, what I was doing on my streams, the Madeleine McCann stuff has picked up views since, so that doesn't count, but an average stream, words on stream, Genshin Impact there, because Twitch went down for the big down Genshin Impact, but a Thus podcast, we're talking between 70 and 700 views here, and the Thus podcast would have picked up more since, but, you know, I wasn't getting lots of, I was getting 100 views on a stream as a sort of average a year ago. Yeah, anyway, what was I even saying that for? Seb was here 7 years ago, right? Well, some of you were here a year ago, look. Big up, Seb. There are quite a few people who were there, you know, for a long time through the... Because I did ASMR for a long time before that. Like, a long time ago before that, so it's been a journey. But I forgot what my point was. I've forgotten why I was even saying it. I think I was saying that basically I'm not popular and like not big and important. I think that was my general point. No, not unpopular, but you know what I mean? Like, not like when I do a stream or an episode, it doesn't shake the foundations of the fucking internet, does it? Like, you know, I'm not PewDiePie or who's big now? Who's big now? Who's the most popular one now? I can't even think. PewDiePie still comes to mind for me, but he's given up, hasn't he? I wonder who the most biggest YouTuber is now. Anyways, it's probably Ludwig, and it's not me, so don't worry. Yeah, Mr. Beast, yeah, exactly. I'm not Mr. Beast, and like, you know, no one has to get all wound up. Maybe that was my point. I forgot what my point was. Let's have Nate and Eddie again.
I did call out the dog walker, yes, but my angle is merely to get another statement about the correct timeline. The fact it changed between giving it to the police on the day compared to the one that W.
Oh, yeah, but that's because timelines change because people, like, if you ask me on any given day what I had for breakfast and what time it was that I ate the breakfast, I can give you an answer, but then if you go and film me every day and show me, I'll be like, oh, I thought I had cornflakes and I thought it was 6 o'clock, not 7. And they'd be like, well, you were fucking wrong, so, you know, it goes in the bin. People do give confusing statements. Compared to the ones at the inquest are fundamentally different. Through careful analysis, I've worked on factual information, Scott has not. No. Hang on. I have been through the inquest. I have been looking at the Nicola Bully stuff, and the factual information is not available to us because nobody really knows, do we? Because what's different between the inquest and what was said at the earlier time? Like, which one is right? Like, if they're different, they can't both be right. But you apparently have factual information, and I don't. But what are you talking about? That's fucking weird as well. Let's have this next one. I like the text-to-speech, so I'm going to persist with it. So you just have to fucking put up with it. I'm not reading it out. We're going to have text to speech. Let's hope it can do the... Oh, it won't fit. It can only fit 200. Let's have another one that can fit more. Sorry about this. Let's try one more. Do. Okay. Different voice now, okay?
When he ridiculed me on his channel, you have to understand he...
This is obviously the free one. Isn't it? This is the free one. Fucking one male voice, and it sounds like Stephen Hawking's old laptop. Like, this is obviously the free one.
When he ridiculed me on his channel, you have to understand he is playing at home. I stand no chance. But, and there is a but, what he doesn't understand is the supporters he has in his chats egging him on are the very people that will bury him in the end.
Oh my god. I'm playing at home on my own channel, yes. You're right. I am. I agree. I have no choice. Like, this is my fucking channel. And you're all going to turn on me and bury me. So I fear that. But the truth is, right, the truth is that what we're doing today, how many are in here? 67 viewers in here today. Quite a lot for me on Twitch now. That's really good. You know, I'm saying about how I've grown. Those streams that I showed you earlier, the Twitch streams I was doing a year ago, 1 to 10 people maximum. Yeah, 1 to 10 people maximum. So growing, really lucky. What I intend to do next year is to grow further. So, like, it might be that the sort of 60 to 70 people who watch me live here and the increased number on YouTube going up to about maybe 1,000, 2,000 views on this might get... You know, my reaction to what Eddy said might get 2,000 views. The 2,000 people there might bury me later for some reason. But hopefully they'll be outweighed by the 98,000 other people that will be enjoying the content that we're making. So I intend to grow. I don't intend to stress and worry about being buried by everyone. And I don't, to be honest, I don't think you in chat here, I don't think you're intending to turn on me in the future and bury me either. So it's a bit of a fucking weird one, that. But again, I think we're now saying things to make Scott react and respond in certain ways that, or to fear or to worry or to, if I'm paranoid, I'm to worry about the future then, yeah? The point being, it's a deflection from the fact that the bad thing he said was not about me, and the bad thing that happened wasn't about me and him, really. The bad thing is that you said that Trisha, and that stuff about her past relationship, and domestic violence and the tarot, like, those were the bad things. So this, not so pertinent, but I'm getting a lot of sort of airtime on the apology here. But it's not, to me, it's not like the bit, he's apologised to Trisha. I don't remember if he apologised to Vicky Marie. I don't think he did. I think he said he didn't like her and she's a grifter. But I'm not getting the apology. Nor should I.
When he ridiculed me on his channel, you have to understand he is playing at home. I stand no chance. But, and there is a but, what he doesn't understand is the supporters he has in his chats egging him on are the very people that will bury him in the end. I fight on for justice and I fight on for Ernie's good name along with Peter's. Scott is playing with fire.
Hang on. You're going to bury me in the end, right? Got that. Let's get that. Let me format this a bit better so it will read it better. Sorry, we're now in the bargain basement of text-to-speech. It was going really well. I'm considering, actually, for once, shelling out and buying something on the internet, i.e. a text-to-speech, because it's quite fun, but how many of these are we going to do? I don't know. Let's see what Eddy's saying anyway, through George's voice.
Thank you.
Thank you. No, say this bit, George. George, you are the worst.
I fight on for justice and I fight on for Ernie's good name along with Peter's.
You fight for Ernie's good name along with Peter's. Why? How do you know them? Have not the things that we've exposed about them made you question their good nature? Like, what is going on here? Peter Folding does not seem that legit, really, does he? Ultimately, Peter Folding's most important interest for him is to create private services where public services should be filling that vacuum. And that's a political thing, okay? It's a political thing. It's conservative politics. It's getting him rich instead of doing the good job for the people. It's underfunding public services, so there is a vacuum, and then filling it with private services. It's how we're going to lose the NHS if we're not careful. That sort of stuff. But you know, Peter's not really strictly legit, like, is he? But Eddy, like, don't care. Eddy's going to fight for his good name. Ernie's and Peter's good names. And Ernie, I don't know from Ernie. All I know is that it's sad that his daughter's gone missing, for sure. That's sad. And everything I know about him that I've managed to find out on the internet is that he drove truck driving businesses in a part of the world where animal agriculture, the trucking of animals, is the basic big business. And he had this big, you know, we've been through it on the video, haven't we? He had this big business, and then he sold his shares in it and moved away and started a new business that looks like a truck driving business, but is actually listed as scientific something or other. And yeah, like those connections with the protests and then so I found out all that, and then I watched a video, and then there he was in the video. And if you want to argue about whether that's him in the video, that is up to you. But I think maybe I'm just going to have to accept my own opinion that when I see someone that looks exactly the same as someone else, but the ears are a bit smaller because 30 years have not gone by. I don't know. But Eddy, faced with all that, is just going to be like, no. I'm fighting for justice for Ernie. Why are you fighting for justice for Ernie? I'm just really confused. Like, why are you fighting for Ernie? That's my whole point, Eddy, is that you fighting for Ernie is a weird fucking chess move. Because you're a man on the internet that likes the Eurovision Song Contest. Like, you don't want to have a true crime channel. You keep deleting the videos. You just want to have a Eurovision Song Contest music channel, yeah? So why don't you just have a Eurovision Song Contest music channel and then a separate video channel called Eddy's Videos Will Delete Soon, Do Not Watch, and then put all your true crime stuff on that? Like, why were you so, like, out of all the things in the world that could have ever happened, like, there's lots of things happening all the time. Even news from way back in your local area. When you move to New Zealand and you're reading the old local paper, stuff comes up. This was Lancashire, and Nicola Bulley lived in Lancashire, and she was from that area that you used to live in, maybe, yeah. But, like, why on earth have you chosen to become, like, a sort of consistent voice on the Nicola Bulley case on YouTube? Like, it's okay to have done that and to just say, I'm doing Eddy's True Crime channel, I'm interested in this case. I used to live in the area and I know the family, or, you know, whatever. It's whatever the truth is, yeah? It's okay to just say it, but for Eddy, it's not. It's not. We can't have any sort of statement of prior history or, like, real... Like, other than just, like, generalities and vagueness, even when it comes to his reputation and his character on the internet, we can't ever really get in. Well, I'm not asking to get into that. You know, I'm just saying, like, what we get into is all this stuff. Like, I'm going to fight for Ernie's good name. Like, no one else has fought for anything other than maybe justice for Nicola Bulley, I would say. Like, in terms of fighting for stuff on the internet. And, like, fighting, am I fighting? Are we fighting? Like, is what we're doing, like, vaguely sometimes it comes into the concept of journalism. Like, maybe I'm laughing because I don't want to, like, give myself a nice hat, you know. Like, I'm not a fucking journalist. I sit here and talk shit on the internet. Like, but, like, you know, vaguely it could come into that, and, like, you could call it, like, fighting. Like, when I would see Brian Harvey's content, I'd think, wow, like, you know, he's had to fight his battles here. But, like, I'm an independent commentator on the internet, so I haven't got a campaign, and I haven't got, like, if I was and I did, I'd have a much more focused. And some people were trying to fight for a new law that said that you had to have another independent person overseeing the inquiry, autopsy or something, and that independent person was going to get paid through the government and wouldn't be a government sort of elected, be maybe more sort of private, but maybe Peter Folden could do that job. Like, you know, some people were deciding to try and fight that as a campaign, weren't they? Or a petition to reopen the case. But ultimately, this is fucking bizarre. Like, that's why I've been talking about it now for so much. When it's really all about Trisha and what he said about her, that's the truth of what this should be about. This point here that he's made, and he's thought about it, written it, and he probably knows this is going to get me to be going on about it. But why are you fighting for Ernie's good name? Am I blackening his good name? By saying he drove trucks? Because that's his public business. Am I blackening his good name by saying here he is in a video driving the trucks? Oh, I'm blackening his good name by saying I think there's a criminal, and this is where it was, disclaimer, this is all my conjecture, I have no evidence for this, think what you want, but for me, this is where I land, is that there might be some criminal enterprise going along with the truck driving and the shipping things across the borders and the private police and the protest breaking and the animal welfare. And I think there's some other stuff going along there, and I think that's where we get to the bottom of this. That's what I said. So I didn't slander Ernie's good name even. I didn't even say that he had done any bad things. I said that people like Ernie drive the trucks and therefore they are smuggling the goods. I didn't even say that he was aware that he was smuggling the goods. Yeah? I did say later on that Ernie might have tried to get out of that and say, I don't want to be part of this anymore, which is, again, not a slander of his good name, because if he's involved in criminal corrupt activity and discovered it, he might have said, I don't want to be part of this, I'm selling all my shares, I'm leaving. So, or he might have been part of it and decided to run away. You don't know. I'm not saying it. That's up for people to believe, and for people to decide what they believe. That's the point. But Eddie's going to fight for Ernie's good name. Eddie's going to fight for his good name. Like, how do you know him? And if you do, and you're going to, make it overt and stop doing all this fucking pussying around. It does my head in. Because it makes you feel like Eddie knows him again, doesn't it? It's like a subtext to it. Like, anyway, Peter and Eddie and Ernie don't know each other then. And they're not all connected. But you're going to fight for their good names. Peter's as well. Fucking hell.
Scott is playing with fire, and he will get burnt.
You play with fire, you're bound to get burned. So shut up, I'm talking like listen and learn. Is it a dope plant? Is it a fern? When I'm on the mic with the what man, wait your turn.
Scott is playing with fire, and he will get burnt.
You get turned up. Is that a threat?
Scott is playing with fire, and he will get burnt.
What am I going to do now? Get murdered by the fucking secret police because I uncovered some, like, you know, oh great. Because I talked about something on the internet. Like, brilliant. Now I get murdered. Like, fuck that, man. I feel like me and Brian Harvey need to go and move out to somewhere else. Brian said on one of his shows, he said, if you go to America, you get murdered more because it's a big place. England's a small place, so it's harder to you get murdered. But I think me and Brian Harvey should just go and move to fucking Alaska or something. Who's Brian Harvey? We'll cover that in a minute. But I've been watching his content recently. He watched my video, and he's someone that I actually respect, basically. I just think is the cleanest, easiest way to say it. He's someone that I respect. And I don't think he gets enough respect because I think he's had a lot of stress and difficulty in his life. And it's caused him to basically not, like, at some point, a lot of people, well, we'll talk about Brian Harvey in a minute, but when people first introduced to him, he was a pop star and he looked really fucking like he'd got everything buttoned down and going on. And then when you next see him and he's got like a grey beard and, like, you know, he's been worn by life, then people are like, whoa. And then he says some strange things that they're like, whoa. So I think he doesn't get the respect for actually, like, the position he's in. But we'll get on to Brian in a minute. We're still supposed to be finishing this.
Scott is playing with fire, and he will get burnt.
It's just the reason that
I hope I've
the reason that I allude, like, this is the sort of stuff that ends up like I don't think that the reason, you know, am I going to get murdered now and all this? I don't think I'm going to get burned. Playing with fire and going to get burned. It's like a threat to make you paranoid. Like, if the people who are doing this bad stuff, if they're really worried about people, they're not worried about people like me talking about shit on the internet with less than 10,000 subscribers. Even if I intend to grow and get 100,000, this stuff doesn't get me to 100,000 subs. Like, this stuff is like interest through the Nicola Bulley case, and like the video I dropped about the Nicola Bulley case, almost for me, I mean, it won't be the end to my talking about it on the internet, but it's almost like a sort of, I've come to the conclusion. I've not just, like, I want to say this, and I suppose now is a good place to say it as any, but I need to say it again on the other channels, so you might hear it again. But there's a lot of other channels out there. I know this is not me dissing other channels, okay? This isn't me. There's a lot of good channels out there that do really good work, so I'll start it off with that, you know. But there's a lot of other channels that are not, and what they do is, in true crime world, I'm perceiving it. I'm not part of it. I'm perceiving it, and I'm guilty of this myself. Is you ask a lot of questions. One, because you don't want to do any defamation or, you know, nail your flag to the mast of a certain opinion, because there's a lot of questions. Yeah, like true crime and this stuff, it throws up a lot of questions. That's why it's interesting. Who were the people that saw her last? How many steps did she take by the river? What happened with this? What happened with that? Who were this? And there's all these questions. That's what's interesting, yeah? But solving the case is not making YouTube videos asking questions. That's a lot of the sort of what I would call the mid-range true crime content. Mid-range. Asking the questions but not answering them. Like, at some point you have to sit down and have a really good think and answer the questions. And that's where you get to that next like echelon of content, like where you might consider it journalism or whatever, is answering some of the questions. Talking about Brian Harvey again, like there's someone else I respect for that reason. Not just asking a load of conspiracy questions, but finding out details and facts and answering some of them, yeah? And I think for me, with the Nicola Bulley Solve video, that does leave some more questions in the air. It does open up some other concepts, and there are more questions, and we can ask questions forever, but there are certain amounts of answers that we are going to and not going to get. So I believe that for me and my own sense of what I was looking at, my question is, why is like, we know Nicola Bulley has been, we know she's been murdered in inverted commas, you know, but you know, she's dead now, yeah? How did she get in the river exactly? Maybe I don't know exactly who's put her in exactly and exactly when, yeah? But how did she get to be murdered? Like, why was she murdered? What motive did people have to, like, was it a random killing? Did a rock fall from the sky and kill her? Or was someone doing something? Now I feel I know. Now I feel I know why. And I won't be able to tell you who and pick them out of a lineup and someone's going to prison, but I feel like I know why. So I feel like that, like for me, case solved is like my interest in it. Like with it's same with Madeleine McCann. Like I don't have to go on and on about Madeleine McCann in like 10 million different videos. I looked at it all and now I know what happened. I know why. I'm pretty sure about who and everything else as well, but like I don't need to, like, I feel satisfied with that answer insofar as I've had an answer that is not a load of questions. It opens more questions, but it's not, the answer is not a load of questions. It's an answer. Like, it's like, this is the real deeper layers of the cake. You've been licking the icing and putting the icing, and there are, you know, lots of mid-range of the cake, like, you know, mid-range filler content, asking loads of questions, but the real, you know, juicy, rich, whatever part of the cake, the marzipan or the base or some shit, I don't know, but the real, like, total, you know, full layer cake, when you've gone through it all and seen all the layers, I don't have to have all the details because it's from the 1990s. I'm never going to learn everything unless I'm a proper investigative reporter with a team. I'm going to be limited. So, but for me, I feel like I know the answer now. I know why, and I know, like, sort of the motives and processes. So yeah, I feel like I kind of, if I don't talk about, but I'm going to talk about Nicola Bulley again in the future. We haven't finished the IOPC report. There's lots of other things, but I feel like if I didn't, that's okay, because I've sort of started out with, this thing's happened on the internet. This man's here doing an interview, and my body language reaction is this. And then we've gone through the whole process to the point where I'm reading reports from police commissions and, you know, stuff like that. Gone through the whole process. I've thought about it a lot. I've done research. I brought up some interesting new stuff that other people hadn't brought to the table. And I said, these are the things that I think are going on. So that's me solving the, you know, that's me taking the cards out of the Cluedo at the end of the game and saying it was Professor Plum with the lead piping in the kitchen. Okay, I'm not as specific as that, but, you know, I'm taking the cards out of the thing at the end of the game and throwing them on the table. If you want to play again and you want to go for season 2 and you want to go into the animal rights people, hunting the knife sciences, you know, all this other stuff, and these, you know, it's going to take a lot longer. It's a bigger game and it's a longer season 2, season 3, season 4. I don't have to. I could do. But like, I don't think like Scott's playing with fire, he will get burned. I'm not like the investigative watchdog to solve all the problems of everyone's world. Like, I've given you the answer to the Nicola Buddy case. The whole internet has it now, and if they want to dig deeper, there's the whole world out there that can. At some point, I might be interested to, but I don't have to make a career out of trying to sort of get burned and deal with this stuff. It's just like such a heavy concept to lay on me. I can do whatever I fucking want. I'm a person on the internet chatting about stuff. So I feel like I did solve the Nicola Buddy case, and I don't feel I'm going to get burned. And I think making me feel like I'm paranoid now from MI5 trying to bin me off in the river is it's like a... Like, is Eddy trying to attack me on a... Like, is Eddy trying to do like a sort of mental health attack on me here? Where he's like trying to say things that are going to get into my head. And then later on I'm going to be like, oh my God, you know, I was at the supermarket and this man came in and he was all wearing black and he followed me in the aisle and now I can't drink any of my chocolate soy milk because he knows that I buy it and he might have spiked it with poison in the supermarket. Like, do you know what I mean? Am I going to live in that world? And to your questions in chat, sorry, I was on a bit of a rant. Big ups, Brum Vixen. We did have a good Christmas, yeah, thank you. And Andras de Wolf, what do I think he means by that? I think he means to try and like make, you know, put me off my game by getting under my skin, by saying things that like, it's like he's watched too many spy films. That's what I think. And the other reaction I could have is that, oh, he's involved in it and he's like spy games and he knows more than he's letting on and there's a danger there, and, you know, to go into all that subtext. But I think you have to be careful when you're being manipulated not to be manipulated. So I'm going to stay on the outside of feeling paranoid and understand that it's a sort of pop at me, basically. It's designed to, you know, rather than designed to allude to some truth, which someone might say, oh, this alludes to the truth. Eddy knows more than we're letting on. Rather than that, he's alluding to the idea that that's what I think, so that it makes me scared. That bit.
Good name along with Peter's. Scott is playing with fire, and he will get burnt. I hope I've answered your simple question, Deborah.
Your simple question, Deborah. Simple.
I hope I've answered your simple question, Deborah. Now tell me, who do you really feel deserves my apology?
Trisha.
Now tell me, who do you really feel deserves my apology? Have a good Boxing Day and try not to overthink what's been going down for me to upload the video pulling these people up on their initial attack on me.
Have a good Boxing Day and try not to overthink. I mean, I've already overthinking this to the extent where I'm making a video about it, but you can see that I've explained why I'm not going to overthink it as soon as we stop talking about it. Have a good Boxing Day and try not to overthink, meaning overthink. Like, it's reverse psychology to tell someone not to do something. Try not to. So overthink what's been going on for me. Like, please think about me. Is what he's trying to. What I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to read what he's saying and understand it, right? So have a good Boxing Day is I'm aware that you're doing Christmas and Boxing Day. Like, have a good Boxing Day. Try not to overthink what's been going down for me to upload the video pulling these people up on their initial attack me. So don't worry about me. Please think about me being attacked and that I had to put up a video pulling up these people. It was so bad that I had to upload a video. So you should really reconsider your fucking simple question, Deborah, because actually the victim here is me, is what Eddy's saying there, yeah? So what I would do, Deborah, if I were you, is I would go on his channel and ask a second one saying, are you okay, Eddy? I'm worried about you. Is there anything I can do to help you, Eddy? Like, maybe you should have thought about that more carefully, Deborah, before you asked your direct question. What? What? What the? What the? Why I order? I got buttons for this. Wait, come on, buttons. I got buttons for this.
I can't take it anymore. I can't believe it. I just don't believe it.
This is going to be great.
What are we gonna do? We got a big problem.
I'm just going to say I'm thinking this is going to be great.
Wow. I didn't fill out. I could do so many more buttons, you know.
Because you'd be in jail.
But I gave up. Like, doing soundboarding's just like fucking arduous for me. But it's great facility.
Ghost girl. I'm absolutely electrified right now.
Anyway, so that was Eddy's vinyl break. Eddy's vinyl breakdown. Eddy's having a vinyl breakdown. If he's got any sense. I mean, I hope he doesn't, to be honest. I don't know what to say these days, because I feel like I should provoke people into doing more. I feel like I should provoke him into doing more, but maybe I already have by like the nature of my response just instinctively. Like, I didn't think about how he was going to respond to what I've just been saying. I was just instinctively giving you my reaction, yeah? But now I feel like I should say, Eddy, please don't make another attack video on me. Please don't make another attack video on Trisha, you know, or say something that's going to get his egg up so that he does another attack video. But really, the truth is, what he absolutely must do before it's too late is to just make a fucking apology. Like, not this, but like I said before, like, I watched a documentary about domestic violence. It really opened my mind to some of these ideas. Women feel trapped in relationships. They don't have the ability to just read it on the tarot and walk away. I mean, what I said there was so facile, and the reason it hurts is because it cuts to the bone of the actual problem that these people are having in these relationships, where they feel trapped and their life suddenly took a turn for the worst and it wasn't predicted, and the people that they had invested so much of their time, emotion, you know, their life, they've fallen in love with, then are the ones that turn on them. It's like pulling the rug from under somebody, and their sense of self and security and place in the world is all now up in the air and being heavily, at the same time as all that's going on, the person that they need to rely on the most is the one doing the manipulation. You know, to show that Eddy's learned and understood these things, to explain it in a video a bit as to why what he said was so bad, that's how it would be to do that, I think. And then say sorry, really? Maybe? Not like sorry but not sorry. Sorry but Scott's a bastard, or sorry but this and that, but just fucking sorry. And don't worry about me, you don't have to say sorry to me, I don't give two fucks. In fact, you should do more videos going on at me and about how Ernie's good. Do me a video, for me, Eddy, do me a video explaining why the fuck you fucking love Ernie so much, and why you've got your head up Ernie's bum, and why Peter's such a great fucking guy, and what connection you've got with them to have assumed these things. Like, why you're not being objective about them, but instead you're being, like, fighting on their side. Please explain that to me. But you don't have to, because I already have my ideas. So, you know, explain nothing to me, explain it to everyone else. Interesting, Rach. Event, response, outcome. Eddy's trapped in the drama triangle. I don't know much about that, the drama triangle. I know about the cognitive triangle, but the drama triangle's an interesting one, yeah. I quite like it for YouTube. I mean, bear in mind, this is going to go up on Battery Exhausted. The concept is we chat about stuff on Twitch. Sometimes we do it on Battery Exhausted itself, like not to watch, but it's a bit of fun. Like, it's just human interest, and then the actual main content's on Super Chuffer. But if this goes on like that, maybe I'm also trapped in the drama triangle now, because I'm responding and there's going to be an outcome. And then, I mean, I was literally asked to do this, like, have you seen what Eddy said, can you talk about it? But that's okay for me, I suppose. Like, some people like use the word drama in such a heavy negative, but it's like also human interest to me. Like, it's like behaviour. Do you know, like when you sit and watch people talking, and you know, people say they like people watching, yeah? Tell you what I like more than people watching. I like people watching where people are having a thing go on. Look, Maureen's having a right go at Trevor. He's locked the keys in the car. Should I go over there? Don't go over there. She's having a right go at him. Yeah, but he's locked the keys in the car again. Oh, cripes. Should I go over there? No, don't. They'll be fine. They'll work it out. Oh, bloody hell. He's took the washing down now. You know, a bit of that. Maybe I'm fishwifing myself here, but, you know what I mean, though? Like, just people watching where stuff's going on. It's reality TV, but it's reality TV because reality TV is reality, and people want that conflict on reality. You know, it's a bit of that, isn't it? Like, it's like a soap opera, but it's real life. I don't know, yeah, people watching. And I feel like what we do on Battery Exhausted and to an extent here is a bit like that. Like, my irons in the fire with the Nicola Bulley stuff are about the Nicola Bulley case and the truth and stuff like that. What Eddy thinks and says doesn't really matter. Unless he really does have a direct connection with these people, which he keeps alluding to, but won't admit to, then it could matter. But really, it falls into this other bracket. So you're right, like drama, true crime, drama, it all goes on. I guess maybe if I was doing more ASMR videos, I'd be talking about drama in the ASMR world more, because it goes on everywhere, I suppose, as well. But I suppose it's a bit surprising that Eddy would be the character that would churn out the drama. Maybe that's took everyone for a bit of a sideways, because he seemed to be doing this. I mean, it's easy, isn't it, to be editing your videos and making videos with a bit of a tone, to always come across like a nice guy. Like, it's easy to do that, isn't it? Like, isn't it? Is it? I don't know. Certainly, I don't care to try.